Hello again, and welcome to the Access 21 podcast. I'm John Rocco, Executive Director at the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Public Access Corporation. Very pleased to have with me as my guest today the President of the Board of Directors of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Public Access Corporation, Tommy Nichols. Tommy, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, John.
Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about how you got involved with Access 21 and some of the things you've been involved with since you've been here?
Yeah, it was interesting. I was up for being on the board with the Charlotte City Council. David Howard was the individual city councilman that kind of pushed my name. And it came down to me and another gentleman, and he beat me out by one vote. A month later, I got a call from Mayor Clawfelder at the time, who asked me to be his representative on the board. And so that's kind of how I got here.
And the organization has changed quite a bit in the last 5 years or so, 6 years since you've been here. What are some of the things that that you've seen come about since your time on the board?
Yeah, and it's been interesting because a lot of transparency. I think that was key. You know, we work with the public, we work with the community, and also producers who are part of that community. So I think we increased our level of transparency to those producers. I think we've opened up the portal of conversation of anything that they might have to communicate to the station, whether that's good, bad, or ugly, which is always good to help us to grow. This podcast studio, which I think is awesome, amazing, is one of those things that have happened. And there's so much that's taken place, I think, in terms of the outreach of the station. I know we outreach to the public library system, and now they're part of the broadcast. And so community increased access or engagement has taken place as well. And so that plus so many more.
What would you say? I mean, we are obviously a free speech forum, and we invite anybody in the community, anybody in Mecklenburg County to come in, express themselves. But we're in kind of this strange time at the moment where we hear a lot about cancel culture, and maybe folks somewhat leery about expressing their own opinions, which is kind of what we're all about. So what would your message be to people out in the community who may have a message to get to the community, but may be a little afraid maybe to come in and start expressing themselves again, given the climate we're in?
Without a doubt. And I think because of the pandemic, we know that I think social media engagement, streaming platforms, everything has increased in terms of community involvement. If you've never thought about doing it, now would be a great time to get involved with a structured existing studio whereby you can come and express yourself in any form and fashion you would like to. And so when you look at social media, there's so many people express themselves on social media, but yet bring your voice, I think, to a larger community by coming to public access TV. I think that's one of the things that folks are missing out on. This is, I think, the jewel of Mecklenburg County, and people don't know about it, or they heard things about it, whether good or bad, but they need to come down for themselves and take a look. There also are many industries. I'm always seeing folks. I just had a youth piece Saturday with Commissioner George Dunlap, and it's in me. I'm going to call George and say, George, you need your own show. And it should be called the Chairman's Corner, where you invite different people in to have a discussion, because George just has so many different stories. So I think that if you're a creative, or if you're someone with a platform, or you want to create a platform, I think there's nowhere better to do that than to come to public access TV.
And I think the other point we want to make clear is that we don't make any judgments about your point of view. And I think that's something that we want everybody everybody is welcome here. Whatever the message is you're trying to get out. And the beautiful thing is that folks help each other, even folks of different backgrounds and certainly different points of view. But when they're here, it's like a community.
Absolutely. And if you want to talk about Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter, Our blue lives matter. It doesn't matter. You can come here and talk about that and share with people about your feelings or your opinion on why that matters to you. And there's a no judgment, like you mentioned, like Planet Fitness, a no judgment zone here at TV Access 21.
Now, I plan on, as our podcast moves along, to maybe have most of our board members on to talk about what they do outside of their involvement here. And you're involved in a couple of organizations that are similar to some extent to what we do here. The first is the Charlotte Black Film Festival. Tell us about that.
Sure. I'm from Dayton, Ohio. I never planned on doing the film festival. Been doing technology and media since 2000. But when I moved here, I got a job with the Black Expo to videotape this awards program. And doing this awards program, a guy by the name of Ronnie Bryant, who was part of the Charlotte Regional Economic Development Group, like the chamber, but regionally, he said that film, I'm watching this, I'm video recording this, that film had the potential to be bigger than the Panthers, the Panthers, the Hornets, and NASCAR all put together. This is what I'm hearing. And it blew me away when he talked about the potential of film in the region. And so I went to my computer and looked up what was happening for African Americans in that space. And I found nothing. And I thought that the Charlotte Black Film Festival would be a great way to create a platform that folks' voices can be heard, their talents. We can provide education where they can improve on their skills. And then also we will sound the alarm when there's opportunities that exist for them. And I say this all the time. I said, we are an economic development organization that uses film as that platform. In my lifetime, anytime there's an economic train that comes through any city, and it can be anywhere across the country, Dayton, Ohio, Charlotte, North Carolina, New York, anytime that happens, African Americans have historically been on the caboose side of the distribution of that, and we find ourselves fighting over fumes. I made my point to make sure that if the economic train of film come through North Carolina like it did many years before, that I make sure that we would be in the engine, if not driving the train.
So how does the festival work? Folks submit their work, and then I assume there's different categories. Tell us about how the actual festival works.
Yeah. We work with Film Freeway, and we have an open call whereby we have a early bird entry, regular entry, and late entry, where we get films from all over the world who is interested in our festival, and they submit whether it's a short film, documentary, feature film, TV web series. We have a category Black Women in Film that's been doing tremendous, music video, and a student category. And so, and also this year we created an art and film category. So those are art films, whether it's dance, music, and that's doing well. We just closed out the 2021 submission, and everyone just got their official selection materials yesterday. And so we're getting ready for our 11th year of the film festival. Once again, probably 20 countries submitted from everywhere. So super excited about that. And that's been my claim to fame. When I started the festival, that's how folks around the state, around the country know who Tommy Nichols is for the most part, was through the Charlotte Black Film Festival.
And do you have a panel? How are the entries rated? Is there a judging panel, and who are they, and how does all that work?
Yeah, we have a jury that look for each category. So we have a separate jury for each category. And in our film submission platform, there's a grading scale in which they would grade each and every film, also allows them to do comments about that particular film. And then we get together at the end and determine which ones will be our official selection that we will screen at the festival.
So now the pandemic has been a big change for everybody. So you're running a film festival, and for the most part, I assume at the moment, it has to be virtual. So how has that affected the festival itself and maybe the entries that people are submitting?
It was interesting. Last year, we went virtual, first time. I think what helped us, it was my background in technology. I've been in technology forever since I was 19. First PC, the XT. Okay, I've been around since then.
Not the Commodore 64. That's what we had in my house.
Yeah, that came after. And so, as a result, I was able to maneuver and find the certain apps or platforms we wanted to use to allow our festival to be as close as possible to in person, but yet virtual. And so, very successful. When we look at our Facebook numbers, we had an engagement, meaning someone either liked or commented. We had over 18,000. And then we had an impression. We had over 50,000 impressions. And so it was very successful last year going to a virtual format. And of course, we're doing it again this year.
Has anyone expressed any change in mindset given A, the pandemic, and B, as we mentioned earlier, the whole cancel culture kind of thing? Has that had any effect on the creativity of the entries, do you think?
Yes. I mean, I think this year we're seeing some entries that were prior COVID, you know what I mean? And but then there's some folks who did step out, even myself. We created a film during the pandemic, a short film. But yet, I think that, so in terms of creating new content for the last 12 months, I think that has slowed down.
Do you think creators are more resistant or afraid to produce certain types of things because of what's going on out there at the moment? I mean, as someone who's been doing this for 33 years and encouraging people to speak and the First Amendment, I know I'm concerned about it, that people are intimidated to actually express themselves, whether it be politically or artistically, because maybe it's something they say, this might get me in trouble. I might get attacked on Twitter. Absolutely. I might have people at my house.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I see that even in my personal life. I mean, because some folks want the vaccine, others don't. That's one prime example. When it comes to content creators, a lot of content creators are bold and they're daring.
Right.
But it's the folks you're trying to get to work with you on your project that's not. And so that's probably where the problem comes in,
Right. Yeah, I'm concerned about it because I just think, I mean, you see all kinds of things in the press now. This person's canceled. This person said something 25 years ago, so they're canceled. Absolutely. And it's just dangerous. It's just very dangerous.
It really is. And, there's it's so interesting that how that, we was told that growing up as a kid, what is it? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words would never hurt me.
Right.
That's when we're kids.
Now the words are the stones, I guess.
It is. And so now we've gotten so sensitive about certain things, and it has been, it's interesting, and certain things are justified, maybe certain things are not.
Well, and we don't want people to become afraid to speak out about whatever it is in fear of being ostracized by some other group. Whatever your opinion is, we have a country based on the right to express oneself.
This is true. Even so, you will have so many people who will attack you because of your voice, right? Meaning on social media, doing social media all the time. But the key thing is that you get an opportunity to speak your voice, give power to your voice. That's more important than anything that anybody else can say to me.
Right. And I'm always amazed that when someone says, well, I've been attacked on Twitter. Well, then don't look at it, because if you don't look at it, it doesn't have any effect on you.
Right.
So that's something that I think we have to keep an eye on and encourage people to continue to be out there and challenge things and state your opinion.
Yeah, I think every voice. There's also on the other side, you got tons of supporters. So no matter who you are or what you're saying, there are so many people that think the same way.
Right.
And they're just waiting for someone to speak about it.
Yeah. So you're also involved in another organization for young people.
Yeah, it's a couple of things I do. Power Up USA started, because when I was in Ohio, I had summer camp, so I've been working with youth for a long time. I had a tech school in Dayton, Ohio called New Destiny Computer Training Center, where we did Microsoft certifications, and just like, I was way ahead of my time because this was in the 90s, and just being exposed to technology, I was training folks. Had the testing center and the training center in one location. CompTIA A+ PC repair certification, we did that as well. But Power Up USA is just a real great program where we work with underserved communities, young people in the county, and teach them technology, gaming. We have a gaming program is going on today at 4. Technology, gaming, coding, digital filmmaking. So we do all of that and been doing it now here in Charlotte for about 5 years, which is really, really amazing. And so we're finishing up our after-school program and then go into our summer camps as well. So, and even brought a group of kids here, and you guys allowed them to get on the cameras and see what that looked like and see themselves in the monitor and all that good stuff. So it was really, really exciting.
So is the purpose to interest these kids in these types of things as careers or just as an area of interest of theirs?
I was the first African American in my technology department. And of course, I went through a lot. But one of the things I understood was the jobs, even then, now, and the future, are centered around technology. And I believe also the creative part of technology is very important as well because of the user interface that's there. And so we want to expose these young people to those skills, 21st century skills that they might not have an opportunity to get exposed to so they can make some real decisions as they get older.
Yeah, and the kids today are so much more in tune, because the technology exists. It didn't exist when I was their age.
Absolutely.
It seems like by the age of 2 or 3, they know how to work an iPad and a computer.
Oh, yeah. iPads are given to babies to keep them occupied. So
Yeah, I don't know if that's good or bad.
I don't think it's good. But, that's I see babies all the time with iPods watching movies, and then they get bored. They flip to another movie, and they know how to work the iPad,
Yeah. So you're actually teaching this in a school setting.
No, we teach it right now. We're teaching it virtually. Our school program is virtually, and we teach at different locations. So we taught in West Charlotte, at Johnson C. Smith University. We taught the program there at the library. We taught it there at Mosaic Village. On the roof, we taught it there. East Side, East Library, as well as East Baptist Church. So we go around the community teaching the programs, those who will partner with us until we get in a facility of our own. We've been remote in our training.
And what is the age group of the kids that are involved?
They start at age 7 to 18, And it's amazing to me. The 7 and 8, 9-year-olds blow my mind because they are so witty. They are so in tune. They are so hungry for information. And in many cases, they're the most creative.
Yeah. And do you think that a lot of the kids have chosen to be in the program, or are some of them there because their parents want them there?
I think majority of the kids want to be there, and then you have the parents for some who encourage them to be there, which we encourage the parents to get involved. And we're really stepping that up now because we understand the accountability we want the kids to have, want their parents to be involved. The parents start researching other information about these careers so that they can help make good decisions for their kids, And so I think that's super, super important because that's the jobs. That's what's going to be here. And if we're not prepared for it, we're going to be left out, and it's going to be too late.
And we want kids to have a broad experience of things that they can do for a career.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, our after-school program and summer camp last year was sponsored by the Art and Science Council Culture Blocks. So they supported us in that. And so, and then before it, parents were supporting. They come out their pocket to pay, for the training. So, so we're super excited about that and looking for other opportunities as well to do that. And then one of the other things we do is called the Carolina Black Film Collective. And so our film festival is an annual event, but the collective is a monthly event that we have where we have guest speakers come in. We have filmmaker boot camps. We have multiple areas of training as well as we produce our own short films. So that has been going on now for 10 years as part of a meetup, the Carolina Black Film Collective. So we do that monthly to keep folks engaged, keep them training, provide training, and a way to collaborate with each other as well to create content.
And I believe when you were here with the group of kids, didn't you connect with a group in Africa somewhere that day, right?
Thank you for reminding me. Yes, we have a culture exchange with a group in Nigeria, a group of young creatives in Nigeria, where we were here and they were both sharing their projects that they had created in each individual program. And so, it was amazing. And I also was the host for a group of creatives that came here from the State Department from Zimbabwe at one time as well, and it showed them around and all that kind of good stuff. So, but the kid piece was really amazing, really amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned that because a couple of years ago, I had a group of officials from Thailand come in and tour the facility.
Oh, wow.
And they were really interested in what we did, but it was so foreign to their way of thinking that folks could come in and basically say whatever it is they wanted to say. Because that's something that they don't have in their country, and it's not that it's like a authoritarian government, but just the concept that the city provides a place for people to come in, and if they won't criticize the city,
that's amazing. It really is.
It was amazing to them.
Yeah. When you think about other countries, you just think about that, a whole platform, and other countries doing that, which they do. But many times when they do that, it turns into violence.
Yeah. And in Thailand, for example, I went to Thailand 2 years ago. If you criticize the king out loud, you go to prison.
Oh, wow.
For like 20 years.
Oh, that's so interesting. One of the things happened too for me during the pandemic was I think we have access to folks outside of the local area. So I've been doing a lot of engagement with organizations, and I'm part of the founding committee here of a group that was established during the pandemic with the Sundance Institute and the National Endowment for the Arts, and it's called the Indie Media Arts South. That's the name of the group, and we meet monthly to talk about how can we look at things in the South and, of course, in the region of North Carolina to make sure that there's resources for content creators and what's happening from the government side that can support us as well. So that's been an amazing experience with Sundance Institute, the National Endowment for the Arts. And they even hired me to be on a panel for the National Endowments of the Arts for their last series of grants for content creators. And that gave me just a different perspective of what folks were doing, how they laid out their proposals. So it was a great experience for me. And I got paid.
Oh, well, that's good. That's always a bonus.
Yes.
I'd like to just let the audience know that if you want to have a TV show here at Access 21 or a podcast, but in particular the TV side, we have video on demand, and our programming is seen literally all over the world. And we've actually had our programs seen in 101 different countries now.
Yeah.
And so the reach, if you come down here, whether you do a podcast or a TV show, is far beyond Mecklenburg County.
Without a doubt. And talk about the different apps. I know we have Apple TV.
Yes, we're seen on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And of course, you can stream the channel live on our website. Yeah. So we have all these different platforms, and I'm sure more will come along as time goes on. And now we have the podcast, which is available wherever you get your podcasts, so wherever you're listening to this. So let your friends and family know about the app.
And what's really great about that, all the new people that's moving to Charlotte area, okay, now you can now produce content here that will reach, I don't care where you came from in the States. Now folks in California and New York and Texas or wherever now can also watch and view your programming that you shoot right here. And so I think that's an amazing thing, especially for the growth that we see in here in Mecklenburg County.
Yeah, I know the producers. I always try when I look once a week at the analytics as to where people are tuning in and what they're watching. And I always try to let a producer know, hey, someone in Japan watched your show, and they get very excited when it's somebody and why are they watching? I have no idea, but they are. They've tuned in.
Absolutely. I mean, you think about the resource that we have. I think anyone that comes here and takes a tour of the facility are just kind of blown away. And they're saying, we can get this for how much? We can utilize this facility for how much out of our pocket, and we can have support. Bring volunteers that can become producers or have a pool of volunteers that will work with us. And then have the support with all the different training that takes place here as well. That's the things that I'm excited about when I see you have editing training, producer training, field training, master control training. Everything you need is here for someone to be up to power. And sometimes folks bypass college. They're not for sure. This is a great place to start.
Yeah, and for example, this Saturday we're having a class in green screen on how to do green screen.
I saw that. Yeah.
So we'll have one just on lighting, or we do one on set design and all kinds of things to help you do your program. So we would encourage folks to come down and do their program or become a member.
Yeah, there's so many folks out there that they're shooting film or doing things to want to learn about green screen. I mean, that is chroma key. How does that work, and what all can you do with that? So that should be a full class.
Yeah. And then there's lots of other things we offer too throughout the year if you become a member. So we would encourage everybody to become a member, and we certainly want you to take advantage, because this is a resource that the city of Charlotte provides to its residents that a lot of people don't have in their communities. I get calls all the time from people from elsewhere about, do you know, how do I do a public access show in Gastonia or here or there? And unfortunately for them, they don't have that, but we do. So we want you to come out and take advantage of it.
Yeah, and I the city leaders and leaders throughout the community of Charlotte to understand this is an asset for this city and for this community. And if they haven't been down, they need to come down and take a tour as well, so they can be promoters of what's going on here in their city.
Well, Tommy, I want to thank you for coming in and spending a few minutes with us on the relatively brand new Access 21 podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
If you would like to have your own program, or if you're interested in becoming a member at Access 21, you could visit our website for more information. That's tvaccess21.com, or you can give us a call at 704-377-8988. And I'd like to also remind you that this podcast was produced at the facilities of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Public Access Corporation. I want to thank our engineer, James Rossi, as always. I'm John Rocco. We'll talk to you again soon.